Hello everyone and welcome to Fight News Now Extra. I'm John Pollock. It's UFC 162 week and Robin Black and myself are going to be getting you set chatting all of the news happening in mixed martial arts today as Dana White speaks out about fighter pay, what happens if Anderson Silva loses on Saturday, and much more coming up in today's news. UFC President Dana White addressed the what-if scenario surrounding Saturday's main event between Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman when speaking to MMAJunkie.com this week. White said Silva would receive an automatic rematch against Weidman if he were to lose the title, and stated Silva is looking for big fights and a win will likely heat up super fight discussion once again. In the same chat with MMA Junkie, White also discussed the controversy of late regarding fighter pay, with the likes of John Cholish and Tim Kennedy recently speaking out about the issue. White said he is considering getting rid of all of the bonuses they hand out to fighters, and this will bump up the salary floor for the lower-tiered fighters. And the lines have opened up for the August 17th UFC on FS1 main event between Mauricio Shogun Hu and Chael Sonnen, with Sonnen coming into the fight as a slight favorite at -139. Sonnen is coming off of back-to-back losses to Anderson Silva and most recently to John Jones this past April for his second straight fight at light heavyweight, while Shogun last fought in December of last year with a unanimous decision loss to Alexander Gustafsson. And we are here with Robin Black and lots of topics to discuss, and Dana White providing lots of different items to tackle. The fighter pay issue is definitely one that has heated up quite a lot over the last bit, starting off with John Cholish, and we heard everything involving Tim Kennedy last week, and now Dana White responding with kind of an interesting scenario in that, sure, we could bump up what the lower fighters are making with kind of a hypothetical $20,000 figure that each fighter would be making at the bottom, but then getting rid of all of these discretionary bonuses that often we don't hear about and what is reported to the commission. So once again, this is kind of the whole problem, I think, with fighters trying to form a union, is that you have all these different tiers, and if you're a guy that's making maybe 30 and 30, well, you don't gain from this, but you do lose from this in terms of a bonus being gone.
Yeah, and you sort of see a point. I mean, we've been talking about this a lot, and we've always kind of compared it to society. Like, this is how businesses work now. The people at the top get more than the people at the bottom. They like it that way, and it's developed that way naturally. And if all of a sudden you start to remove the potential to get more from the top guys to be able to pay the bottom guys, you tax the rich to pay the poor. Are the rich going to want that? And I don't think they are.
So if you are looking at this, Robin, this socialism, so to speak, that is being put into the UFC pay structure, are you a fan of this? Looking at what could be gained here versus what is lost for some fighters?
Man, it's a tough one, because every young fighter that you know, every guy that you see come up, and you know some of them personally, and you know what they go through, you see how hard it is to make it. But at the same time, like you said, this implied socialism concept that he's introducing. And he's introducing it knowing that probably people aren't going to go for it. On the other end is that extreme capitalism. The harder you work, the more you make. And if you can step on the guys beneath you and drive yourself up and strive for more and more, you're going to get paid more and more. That's kind of the structure now. I don't think anybody's saying change that. They're saying don't take away the top, just raise the bottom a little bit. But Dana White's kind of throwing a little trick into there, and he's playing, he's just kind of playing games. That's what promoters do.
It just seems that this is going to completely taper off the discussion about fighter pay, because it's almost like you're setting the fighters to fight one another here on this issue, because you're going to have such different structures for different guys.
He's a genius, man. This is brilliant. You don't have to go, hey, do we pay the low guys, are we paying the low guys too little? Oh yeah? Well, fine. We won't pay the top guys less. We'll pay them. It really is brilliant to introduce this as a talking point, because now we're going to change, as you just said, we're going to change the conversation from pay the bottom guys a little more to this whole convoluted idea. It's quite brilliant of him.
You're talking about a giant shift, though. If like a guy that's making 6 and 6 and suddenly he's got a guaranteed $20,000, that's a massive difference in terms of just your lifestyle and taking away a lot of the headaches that come attached with this, where yes, you lose a fight at 6 and 6 and then you take away all your expenses. I mean, it's pretty tough to look at that and the realities of what some of these guys are walking away with.
Well, and then the counter argument would be, are you going to fight as hard and fight to win and fight to put on a show and fight to finish a guy when you're doing pretty well just kind of sticking around in the middle? Let's just keep our job, man. Like, I'm making 20 and 20. I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to put you on the fence and kind of hold you there and try to eke out a decision. I don't want to lose my job. I get paid very well. well. On the other hand, it's like, you start at the bottom, we don't make much, man, but if we can just go for it in this sport, we're going to get paid. That's how it exists now. One is not better than the other. I think the argument's been convoluted. The fact is, pay the bottom guys less and leave everything else the same. There is the space and profit to do that. That's what they should do.
We didn't get to chat about this last week, but something we were discussing earlier was Fight Master Week 2. Numbers were up to about 540,000 viewers on Spike TV, so over a 100,000 viewer increase from the week prior where they were going against the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I mean, I don't think you can really call this a hit at what they're doing. And interestingly enough, this week they're going to take the week off, I guess, because it's the night before the 4th of July. I just think that really does hurt whatever kind of momentum you have. And if you're Spike, you have to be disappointed with the performance thus far of Fight Master, at least numbers-wise.
Yeah, and if you're Bellator, you got to be a little disappointed in Spike's follow-through. You know, the first sort of season that they did, that short season, they came out, 800,000 people a week watched it. They were going right after TNA. You know, they had a reality show coming up. This looks like a legitimate career opportunity for young fighters. Maybe young new guys will be coming up. Then Spike goes, we're doing pretty good. Let's just kind of, you know, in the next season, not follow through as hard, not push it as hard. Like you said, there's even a week off. And all of a sudden now it's in that 500,000 range, which is not as big. People won't be as excited. It's hard to maintain that, and they haven't done a great job so far.
Quickly, Dana White announcing, should Anderson Silva lose this Saturday, Chris Weidman would have to give him a rematch automatically. I don't think many people are going to dispute that, but I am just amazed. I think this is one of the best promoted fights the UFC has put out. They have gone so far as to put out a press release with all these fighters that are, interestingly enough, picking Chris Weidman. I think it's brilliant how they have marketed this, that if you miss this fight, you're missing history on Saturday.
Absolutely. They have done a brilliant job. So-called experts, as well as fighters, do think this guy can win. Many of them think he will win. That's a fact, and they're just using that fact to sell pay-per-views. It is brilliant. Man, these guys know how to promote stuff.
We're going to be chatting about Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman a lot this week leading into UFC 162, but coming your way right now is more of Fight News Now Extra.